Talk. Today, we'll be discussing something that has refused to leave the front burner in Nigeria, and that is the politics. Few days ago, or recently, we've seen recurring killings that's happening in Plateau State and Benue State, and pockets of killings also happening in some parts of Nigeria, south, southwest, and the southeast by um, what has now been known to be the Fulani militia, you know, and these issues have continued to rear its ugly head in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians have died as a result of these incessant killings that have happened, especially in Plateau State and Benue State. It's now really wondering what is even the role of the government in all of this. What is the government doing to manage this issue of recurring insecurity in Nigeria, banditry in the northwest, activities of sectionists in the southeast, and pockets of violence by Boko Haram, because the governor came out to say Boko Haram has now resurfaced and is occupying territories in Borno State. So, and the issue about the so-called radicalization of repentant Boko Haram who have now been reintegrated back into the Nigerian society. So we'll be looking at all of these issues put together. And to do justice to some of these issues that we'll be talking today is no other than Honorable Rimamdi Shawulu, uh, more or less an expert in these issues, and those who have been in calling for, trying to educate Nigerians about the menace of the Fulani militia that have operated unabated, in um, north central Nigeria and all of that. And we'll also dive into the issue about the new terrorist group, the Mahmuda group, who is now operating in Nigeria north central. There were news about the attacks in Kwara and Nasarawa states. So all of these we'll be discussing today. Please sit tight and please share this video so other people can see what we're doing and so they can be part of the discussions. Please like, share, and comment. So, Mr. Honorable Shawuru, thank you for accepting the invitation to be part of this discussion this morning. The issue of security is very, very paramount anywhere in the world, especially now that Nigeria is battling serious economic issues and we're going everywhere looking for foreign direct investment. But the people are not safe. And considering that where these killings are taking place are where most of Nigerian foods come from. So, what's your take about the general state of insecurity in Nigeria? First, before we go into specifically Plateau states and Benue states.
Yeah, from the list that you have given, which is obvious and which is available in the mainstream media as well as the social media, as at today, you have crises in killings in Benue State, Taraba, Plateau. You've mentioned Nasarawa, Kwara, this, and Edo, and we were hearing stories about Ebonyi State, and as you mentioned, the main troubles areas of the northeast and the northwest are still boiling. And so these statistics are ordinarily by themselves worrying because they affect food prices, worrying because the more these things fester, the more younger people or the more the possibility that the ideology could spread. Like you said, we started this in Borno areas and then spread to Yobe or Yobe before Borno, whichever part of the history you are looking at. and you have today Yobe and Borno are still embroiled in those killings, and the governor himself came out, the governor of Borno State came out himself to complain that the military has not been doing well enough and that the Boko Haram was gaining ground again. And so these are worrying. And they speak to one fact which we all do know, that is the fact that Nigeria is an extremely fragile environment as of today. And the fragility of Nigeria is well known. The inability of the state, or yeah, state to, number one, be the sole or have the sole monopoly of the instruments of violence and coercion. Today we are aware and we do know that a lot of light, a lot of small arms and light weapons are circulating in Nigeria. And the situation is being worsened by the fact that even the state is now asking citizens to protect themselves. How will citizens protect themselves without arming? So in the long run, the issue of having so many unregulated possession of guns will increase in the country.
So in
And
okay. Now, so sorry. Now you talked about Nigeria tilting towards a failed state and all of that. Are you saying, because if you look at the dimension of the killings in Plateau State, this is something that's become a recurring decimal. So are you saying the government has failed? Because if you look at the budget for the proposed budget for security in 2025 is around $3.2 billion to ensure peace and security. So, if the government cannot always get the intelligence that these things were going to happen, are you saying there's complicity of security forces or failure of the state to manage the security as we see in Plateau and Benue State?
like if you look at the fragility index for the year 2024, Nigeria sits at the very uncomfortable number position of 15 in the whole world. Nigeria is just before Mali, Ethiopia, Haiti, and all those countries that, and Somalia and so forth, the countries that are, this is not where Nigeria should be at all. Number two, coming to your point, the issue about security, in my opinion, is that it is not about the use of weapons per se. The fact of the matter is that we are supposed to have a situation where everybody, it starts from the moral code that a society has. If you look at some of the theories that political scientists brought about, I may have thought of, that brought into what they call the political society. Some of the theories and propositions is that there was an agreement that we'll all put our weapons, we'll all leave out individual self-help so that we can have group. The group will protect all. And in the process, everybody surrendered his weapons or means of his survival to the state, which tests up, which controls them, and goes about hitting and bringing to book those who violate this. Now, look at the situation in Nigeria. We have a situation where we're living in denial from the very beginning during the post, I mean the immediate post independence era. The leaders that emerged expressed misgivings about the entity called Nigeria. Virtually all of them said Nigeria was a mere geographical entity. They did not say in the same way, but somehow they brought out. And that they said the British were trying to bring Nigeria, but people were divided. And since that time up to date, of us, we are now in the 64 yeah, 60 we are now in the 65 years
Yes, as existence a nation.
as a existence. In October will be 65 years. Now, since that time up to date, where of independence, when we took over from 1914 to 2014 was over a century because we
Yes.
started living together. So we have been together as a country for over 100 years. But yet, like you did point out in your introduction, we still have people talking about Yoruba nation. We have people talking about Biafra up to date. We have people saying that it is time for our ethnic group or our time to rule the country, not that it is time for good governance. Up to now, at the highest level. And you could replicate this in all the states and in all the local government areas. Now, you cannot, and some of these violent non state actors, if you look at their propaganda, they are still talking about, for instance, the ISWAP and the Boko Haram, and are still talking about creating an Islamic caliphate. That means that that is what they are talking. If you see the videos that are posted by these violent actors in the bushes that are posted widely in the social media, they are talking about their ethnicity, their religion, on how they will bring everybody under their religion and under their ethnicity. And so, as a country, we have not agreed. The government has not demonstrated its capacity or capability from day one to bring everybody under the same roof. Now, if you now take a divided, if you go to the second stage of saying, okay, you are going to suppress, how do you suppress people who are born into an ideology? How do you de-radicalize somebody who grew up, was born to believe that his religion is different, his ethnicity is different, he is superior to others, the others are the people that are making sure that he does not get the benefit that life gives him. To the extent that some of these boys that are engaged in these criminal activities in the bushes, some of them are very, very young, some of them under 10 years. So how do you address that? So when you are talking about de-radicalization, for instance, that you spoke about, and the major people that need to be de-radicalized are not even the youngsters in the bush. They are their parents, they are their religious leaders and community leaders who socialize them into this hate
Okay.
ideology.
So, in a
Because
nutshell, are
if you
you
don't,
okay? Okay. No,
yeah, go
continue.
ahead. We're
No,
asking me.
continue with that thought. No,
I said, if you
I was
don't
just
do
going
that,
to ask
if you
something.
don't,
Maybe you can just put all of that together.
yeah, if you don't socialize them into believing that other people are also creation of God, born different, so that we can live together in peace, they'll grow up in this hate. They'll see other people, and then what you are beginning to see in the country is that every other group is beginning to feel the heat. Every other group is beginning to think that, well, if this is the way that we need to survive, then we'll go. One day, if we don't check this trend, we are going to have the Somalia or even worse of situation that we've had in other parts of the world. And we'll
Especially
go
with the
back to the
emergence
very
of new groups coming
yeah,
up here and there in Nigeria. So let me take you back to the Plateau and Benue killings, because I saw in a report that within the last three months or thereabout, over 284 people have been killed within this region. Do you think what we're experiencing in Plateau and Benue is a genocide, or you think is a move to institute or to put in, or just to ensure that a certain kind of ideology exists within this area? Do you think is what we are seeing is ethnic cleansing or a genocide? It's what is happening in Plateau and Benue states.
Well, I don't have the. Let me speak like the late Dr. Bala Yusuf, the historian from Ahmadu Bello University. I don't have the facts at the moment, but I perceive, believe that what is happening is that the terrorist groups with their who are coordinated and that they are planning for a major hit on Nigeria. And I believe that they are angling to come and take over the state. That's what I believe. That is why, in my own opinion, if you check the areas that they are concentrating their attacks on, that they are said to be setting up camps, there are areas around Abuja. Nasarawa State is around Abuja. Gurara,
Sure about that.
some of the areas that they are said to be occupying, like parts of Plateau, there were some reports last week to the effect that ISWAP may be planning or working towards having, uh, what did they call it, having a base in the plateau. And you know, some of the villages and settlements bordering Abuja in southern Kaduna have been taken over by these elements. Nobody goes there, nobody
Okay.
knows what they are doing. I think that in the next 1 or 2 years, if things don't take shape, these guys may be emboldened by their small successes to
Okay.
put their eyes on Abuja.
Okay. Now let's look at, because whether we like it or not, even the terrorism itself or acts of terrorism itself is capital intensive. It requires money. Now, looking at these terrorists, these bandits and Boko Haram elements, these non-state actors, these violent actors, where do you think they get their funding? Because recently we were told that part of the funding for this terrorist group come from USAID and all of that. Now USAID no longer operates in Nigeria. What do you think sponsoring all of these attacks, in the middle belt and the southeast, southwest? Do you think all of this is politics? Do you think the funding comes from a particular source? And the reason I'm asking this is because during Buhari, we were told that some Nigerians were arrested in Dubai, allegedly they are sponsors of Boko Haram and terrorism in Nigeria. And up till now, we've not seen the list. We don't know who these people are. We don't know who they are. We have no idea what part of the country they are from. There's no list. There's no prosecution, at least publicly. We've not seen any of these things happen. Do you think part of what we're seeing? And another reason I'm asking this is because during Jonathan, the level of terrorism or activities of Boko Haram was so intense. But the moment Buhari came in, we saw a reduction of attacks by Boko Haram, and then the whole narrative shifted to banditry in the northwest. I will come to the issue of banditry in the northwest, but do you think all of this is have political undertone, or do you think there are sponsors within the country or outside the country that's allowing this thing to thrive so well, like we have seen in recent years?
Well, my take on it is a very short one. That number one, when you have this type of activities start and you don't address them, they expand. New recruits coming, and even if they were unintelligent youngsters who were simply in the bushes fighting for their livelihood, the fact is that they could be influenced by some sinister groups that may have larger and broader intentions. And this may very well be the situation in Nigeria, where we now have what, if we think are isolated, will be making a very big mistake. That if you look at some of these groups, we've heard that we do know now that some of the so-called Boko Haram, some of the so-called bandits in the northwest were actually Boko Haram. We also do know that, and I did say this on a program some years ago in Taraba State, when we had some of these attacks by so-called headers on some communities. Some of the guys that were picked up admitted that they were Boko Haram. So, if you allow these things to fester, it's like bushfire, like I did say, it's like bushfire. If you allow bush, if you set a small bush to set fire on a small bush, it's going to expand. New factors will come in. It will get it will get fuel or whatever will make it expand as it goes along, and then it develops a bigger agenda that now may threaten every person. Because the issue of a lot of the young people who or people who may be thinking that this may help them may realize at the end of the day that this thing will hurt everybody. It will hurt the Muslim, to hurt the Christian, it will hurt the Southerner, it will hurt the Northerner, and may just imagine. In fact, it may even hurt the whole of the West African region. Imagine if we have the Somalian type of situation in Nigeria and people will have to flee. Imagine what will happen in Cameroon. Imagine what will happen in Benin Republic and up to Mauritania. The number of people that will have to flee and the nature of the destabilization that will take place along the West African coast. So this is not something that should be taken lightly. If you see, now we're talking of, in fact, let me even go to the one point that
Okay.
you talked about, the issue of the new group. I'm looking at a report now by Sahara reporters that no, by not Sahara reporters,
It was
PM
even
News
reported
in
in
Nigeria.
PM News, Daily Trust. They all
PM
reported.
News,
Yes.
PM News is saying that contrary to recent reports circulating on social media and traditional media suggesting the emergence of a new terrorist group in Kwara State, Mahmuda,
Yes.
security forces have clarified that it is not a name of a new terrorist group, but rather
Okay.
continue with the violence with the same ideology. And if you go through the report, they are telling, the report says that the guy went there. I the
We seem to be having a little bit of connection issues there. Please, if you are still following us, if you are watching this live session, please kindly share, and you can also make your inputs. Kindly share and make inputs and like, so other, so it can expand and other people can get to be part of the issues we're trying to discuss. We're discussing the growing concern about insecurity in Nigeria. Recently, a lot of Nigerians have been killed in Plateau and Benue states, you know, but what has been allegedly by Fulani headers, what some have described as genocide, some have described as ethnic cleansing, and some have described it as agitation to grab land. But whatever it is, Nigerians are being killed. Okay, glad to have you back, sir. And please don't forget to like and share so other people can be part of this live session. Thank you.
let me share my screen and
Okay,
read the this thing. What?
okay.
Okay, you can see if you read the, if you see what is on the screen.
Yeah, this is a
Uh,
report by PM News.
yes, PM News. So you are talking about the commander, a Boko Haram commander that moved to set up
Okay, so it's like a
his own group.
split group trying to
Eh,
assert its
no,
own authority.
no. It's not a splinter group. He just moved out to go and continue the work. So it's not as if
Okay,
it's a splinter group. He's not in conflict with the Boko Haram people per se.
okay. So
So
it's just an extension of what they have in
of
the
Boko Haram,
northeast. Yes, okay.
it's an extension of Boko Haram. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. We can all see your
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. You can see my screen, can you?
Yes, we can see the screen. Yes.
Yeah. So let me stop sharing the screen. So I so that is actually the situation that we have, that if you don't deal with these groups, they go around, they create more groups, and they do what they want to do. So the issue is that, as it is it too late? I think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the privilege to turn the situation around, and that means that it will be necessary for him to pay attention
Do you
to
think there's a political will
security.
to curtail insecurity in Nigeria?
Well, there is security. The will has to be developed, because this is a bell that is tolling for everybody. It will
Okay.
come for everybody, and I don't think that anyone who thinks that maybe it may only happen in some states in the north is, in my opinion, living in a fool's paradise. If this thing starts, the attention of the intelligent groups that are behind them will be on the wealth in the southwest, as well as the oil fields of the Niger Delta. They will not stop at the north, they will go down, and everybody will be affected. So is the better is important to pay attention to it and deal with it. Like I was trying to say, it will first start with de-radicalizing the parents and the elites and the
Okay.
religious leaders. They need to be de-radicalized, and if they do de-radicalize themselves, they will be the ones that will bring in new people, new children that will not be attracted to the ideology of hate that is motivating, or that is being used. Yeah, that is the main motivation of the number of people, of the young people that are following, because
Don't you think
they
poverty, unemployment, and all of this is also a contributory factor to insecurity in
I think
Nigeria?
that poverty and unemployment only makes them available. It makes
Okay.
it provides a huge pool that they can get people from, but by themselves or by itself, poverty will not. Someone who is very poor will be after getting food to eat, and
Hmm.
not going after killing people every day of his life, and be relishing on it. What makes them do what they do is the hate ideology that is motivating them. So the issue is, even if, and I did ask this rhetorical question, if that alone, poverty alone, were the cause of that, then the youths in Bayelsa, the youths in Ebonyi State, and the general youths in Benue and Co will also be in the bushes, because this poverty that you are talking about affects every part of the country.
Absolutely.
Unemployment, it affects every part of the country. The inflation
Absolutely.
affects every part of the country. It's not one section of the country that gets another people don't get. And my worry about that spin that people are putting about poverty, and it just aligns with the videos that those violent guys post from the bush, that they and their tribes have been neglected by Nigeria until
Hmm.
government sits down with them. Which youths in the country, which group of youths in the country have government sitting down to attend to all their needs?
It's almost impossible. Now you see, the government is carrying out this radicalization program for Boko Haram. And some have argued that you also have sectionist groups in the southeast. How come the government is not bringing this, asking these people, what exactly do you want? Let's find a common ground in resolving this issue. Do you think all of this is still part of the marginalization that the southeast is talking about?
Well, some people have raised the question that uh, have raised that question several times, and I think that we need to interrogate the issue properly. Namely, I like I did say, there's poverty in all parts of the country. There's no part of the country that young people are not suffering, that we don't have mass unemployment. As a matter of fact, it may even be worse in the south and
Absolutely.
in areas where people go to school. Because you imagine some of the places in the north, the children don't go to school. You have massive uh, school dropout out of children's schools. But imagine the millions that go to school up to university level, they complete, they come back, and there's no work. I went to my village recently and I saw graduates whose parents suffered, made efforts for them to go to school. Now, some of them have gone back, they want to farm, and they don't have access to farms because so called herdsmen have taken over the farms. Now, what do you say about that? So I think that that is why I think that whatever program that the government will want to develop needs to be a holistic program affecting every part of the country. Because this discontent, like I said, if you make the mistake, like the mistake I thought they made, the so-called the radicalization program, you take Boko Haram fighters, bring them, put them in school, train them, and then you give them money. How about the millions others, thousands, hundreds of thousands in those same localities that faithfully stayed at home? They did not go to the bush to fight.
Hmm.
They stayed at home. They were law abiding, and you did not take them for training. You did not take them for empowerment. You now brought in Boko Haram people. You train them. You give them money in public ceremonies, and they go back home with some money. Is that not a motivation for those who have not gone into the bush to want to go to the bush, so
Absolutely.
that they can be called and be trained and be given some resources and support? So it is a holistic approach of the whole society, not just government, because it involves every person. If you look at some of the places that we've had these problems occur, over again, people are living in abject poverty. The government barely or does not exist for them, and the contact between them and the government is only when elections are coming, or in those days when taxmen go to the villages to collect tax. I think the Nigerian state ought to do better than it has been doing.
Okay, talking about election, I think as we wind down, I'm going to digress a little from security now to politics. Now, Dr. Hakim Baba Ahmed, a prominent voice in northern politics, and when this current administration came on board, he was appointed political advisor to Tinubu in the office of the vice president. And recently he resigned his position. And a few days ago, he mentioned about certain things that are happening in the government. And on that note, he has said that the APC, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu will know the northern position in 6 months about whom to support, about their getting their support in 2027. What do you make of this position by Dr. Ahmed?
Well, politics is politics. People angle for power, people struggle for power. the issue is not just about the north. Even in the north, you are talking about the middle belt. You are talking about Christians. People are talking about they want power to come back to the north. Christians are also saying that even if power comes back to the north, is the turn of the Christians in the north to have power. So you have these struggles. They will not stop. They will continue. But the Ahmed Bola Tinubu that I know is more far-sighted than people politically, more politically savvy than people are trying to give him credit. Let me tell you, Ahmed Tinubu wanted to be president all this time, but
Hmm.
he was wise because he saw through. He knew that by himself he could not have been president in 2015. So he brought in money, resources, and organizational ability, and did some great work too, I believe, in getting the Obama government to support APC's uh, fight against President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, if you look at what is happening in the political field, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in my opinion, has gone far ahead of them. The APC is divided.
Okay.
The CPC, the
Yeah, the
group,
CPC
Buhari
block
group,
of the APC. Okay.
is divided. There are some of them that said they are with Bola Tinubu. There are some that said they will not be with Bola Tinubu. Number two, PDP governors, at least two PDP governors. If you include Fubara, who call on his people to support Tinubu, you are talking about three PDP supporters, three PDP governors in states that have always voted PDP. That is Akwa Ibom, Delta, and River State, declaring support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I don't think that threatening President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will make him change his mind or what he wants to do.
Okay.
Because the same allegations, the same frustration that these people have, some of the northern people have against President Tinubu,
Tinubu.
the same allegations that people had against them when President Muhammadu Buhari was in power. And also, people are also saying that why is it that when bandits attack Plateau State and Benue State, these people will say, go and make peace. But when the same bandits attack Zamfara, Kebi, and Katsina,
Sokoto.
they'll say they are bandits, and the government should go and deal with them. But when they attack in Plateau, they say, no, they are our brothers. So are they waging war against the people in Plateau or the people in Benue State?
Okay.
These are
So,
questions that
abs-
obviously. So what I'm trying to say is that the so-called North that they may be talking about as a bloc may not be in a existence without some work being done
okay. So,
within the North itself
Dr.
before
Ahmed
that 6 months.
will probably, he's a political scientist. I'm sure he will see these things. Now, given, in democracy and in elections, the people remain the most important factor here. Now, given the level of um, the the anger in the land about the economic downtown and everything happened, do you think Bola Tinubu stands a chance in 2027?
Let me draw your attention as a political scientist to one fact that there are many variables in election process. The first one is that 1 plus 1 does not always equal 2. It could give you a different reason because we are talking about human beings. Number two is that uh, anger and frustration does not always result in action. It could result in apathy, it could result in withdrawal, it could result in direct opposite of the expectations that people have. that
Okay.
people are going to fight. You do know that there are ample examples in history to show that. Number three is that when elections come, now the elections that we're having is already full of so many things about ethnicity and so forth.
Religion and all of
Now,
that.
religion. Now, they are saying the North is being discriminated. The North is this, the North is that. And everybody is hearing those noise. The noise is not simply about misgovernance, or it's about what the different ethnicity and groups are thinking and saying. Do you think that when some people in Edo and co here that power was in the north for 8 years, went to the south for one time 4 years, and you want to bring it back to the north, people will say, "Yeah, we'll take any person from the north that comes. We're going to take him." A lot will depend on what the coalition that they are talking about, or what the PDP or the Labour Party
But the PDP have
do.
said they are not going to take part in any coalition. Are they just playing to the gallery or just
No,
because
I wouldn't know that. But what I'm saying is that if the success or otherwise of the calculation of Hakim Baba Ahmed and Co will be dependent on who the candidates and where the candidate that will oppose President Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes from.
okay, thank you so much. I wish we had more time to discuss more. There's so much to discuss about Nigerian politics, the security, the economy, and everything. And please, if you're watching this, please kindly like and share, and also make your comments about some of the things that we've discussed today. And I've been talking to Honorable Rimam de Shawulu Kweum, a former member of House of Representative, a veteran and international journalist, someone who has written so much about the politics in the Middle Belt, and he understands so much about politics in Nigeria and northern Nigeria as a whole. And I hope we'll be having you again to discuss. And if you are watching this, please you can leave a comment about what you think we should discuss next. And if you want to be featured or if you want to be part of the program, please kindly indicate in the comment section and we'll make arrangement on how to have a session like this to discuss the politics of Nigeria or anything that you think, any topic that people will just reach out to for I want us to discuss. Thank you so much, sir, for your time with us today. We really do appreciate your
Thank
time.
you very much. God
All right,
bless you.
viewers, that will be all. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Joy Political Blog on subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and please, I'll be dropping my WhatsApp number. You can reach out to me directly and let's discuss the issues as it pertains to politics in Nigeria and other parts of the world. I remain Joel. Thank you very much.